Looks like it's gonna be another beautiful but wasted day. Why? Well, let me show you. Normally on a day like this I'll be out surfing, but look what I did. The balsa completely cracked. So my balsa longboard is busted. The repair shop is closed today. So you know what, let's just go maybe to the beach for a walk, and I'm gonna share something with you guys. Let me grab my bag here. So I think I've got actually a great idea for a video today. We can talk about different apps that I'm using in my filmmaking. So these are going to be apps for your iPhone and Android phones. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. The first app is Sunseeker. This is for iPhone, and it's probably the app that I use the most. Basically what this app allows you to do is to kind of predict what time you know, of the day and even what time of the year and all that stuff is the sun going to be, how's the lighting going to be basically in your scenes. Depending on where you point it, right, it's going to show you where the sun is, for example, at each time of the day. Not only that, but you can kind of see these different lines I have. So I have a blue line on the left, and that's showing me for June 21st. And you can change those settings, obviously, where the sun's going to be. The yellow line is where the sun is traveling right now, today. And the green line is yet another date set. That one's for March 20th. But anyways, as you can see, it's kind of showing me at 6 a.m. it's there, and behind the horizon. And it's going to come over that building at exactly noon, basically. It's going to be here at 12. And then you can see up here, even as you go forward, the sun, see, this is where the sun actually is right now, and it's showing me, yeah, that's the direction of the sun. And it's also showing me that I can keep on shooting at this location until basically just before 6 p.m. because at 6 p.m. it's going to be over behind that building. It's a great app. Like I said, this thing is the #1 thing I take with me when I go location scouting. I'll just show up to a location, and usually the first thing I'll do is I'll break out this this app and start tracking, looking at where how the sun is going to be. And this even works when you're indoors, so you can see at what point of the day the sun is going to be, let's say, peeking in through the windows and that kind of stuff. So there are obviously other functions and other things you can do in that app, but for me that's pretty much how I use it, at least when, you know, when I'm location scouting for a film. So next app is Cad Rage, or Cadrage, or I don't know, to be honest, I don't know how you pronounce it. But anyways, it's kind of like a digital director's viewfinder. If you know what a director's viewfinder is, then you don't need to listen to my explanation. But if you don't know, it's you know, back in the day, directors would actually have sort of like this little magical lens that they can look through, and they can frame their shots. They can figure out what focal length that they can use. And this is again helpful when you're doing location scouting, and for example you don't have with you the actual camera setup and the lenses that you're going to be using, and even when you're filming, like on the day when I'm actually working, especially when I'm working with like those large cinema cameras that for example might have, you know, big glass attached to it and so a lot of accessories, and basically it just makes it difficult to walk around with this camera and just put it anywhere. In that case, it's good to just kind of frame your shots using a director's viewfinder. So let's say, you know, I'm walking around here and I'm thinking of getting a shot, but I'm location scouting. I don't have my big cinema camera with me, but I have my phone, so I can now quickly frame my shots and see what kind of lenses we're gonna need, and more or less how these shots are gonna look. So you select here on the bottom which camera you want. So I'm gonna be shooting on the Blackmagic Ursa. I can change my focal length and basically press it, and right now I have 50mm, so I can look down here and I can frame my shots, see, okay, I like this, maybe I can get a shot there with the city. You know, if I like it, I can, for example, snap a photo here, and this way I can always look at that photo later on for reference. Let's say, you know, it's a little bit too tight, I can change the focal length, so I'll switch to a 24mm lens, and again I can see how it's gonna look on a 24mm lens. Things like that. And like I said, if you're working with a different camera, you choose your camera package. You can create your own custom ones, or you can load one of the presets. And the same thing for the lenses. So I have different type of lenses. They can be primes, zooms. You can put in the ones that you have. This is the set of lenses that I have with me right now, the 24, 50 and 85. So I basically choose one of those, and then that's how I can quickly preview my shots. It even has options for lens adapters. It's a really great app, and it's constantly being updated, new features being added. So again, just to recap, if you're working with a big cinema camera and you just go on location scouting, this is how you want to preview your shots. Next app is for your iPhone, and that's the light meter app. which is actually designed for the Lumu Power Light Meter accessory. That you have to pay for. The app itself though is free. So here's the actual light meter. It's the Lumu Power Light Meter. This thing is $300, I believe, last time I checked. So that's not cheap, but it's got a lot of great features. The app itself though is free. So kind of the way it works is you plug this into your phone. Let's see up here. The second you plug it in, it's going to pop up here asking you to start up the light meter app. You start that up, and once you're here inside, basically using the app and this little attachment, you actually have a really powerful light meter and a color meter, which is pretty damn accurate. So for example, I can go to my cine settings, I can adjust for example how many frames per second I'm shooting, what my ISO is, all that kind of stuff, and then I can go and either press the little button here or press the volume down button, and I can basically do a little light reading here. So really cool, powerful app. Now, if you don't have the attachment, you can still use this app. You basically only will have one option available at that point. It's the spot metering option. Click that, and whatever you pointed at, again, you can measure the amount of light. And as you can see, it's updating in real time what the light reading is up here. And again, that's how you can get your perfect camera settings, so you have nice exposure. Now, the reason why you also might want to buy this accessory is because on the other side here, on the flat side, you actually have a really powerful color meter. Meaning if you're kind of not sure what your color temperature settings in your camera should be, well, again, you can use this thing to actually measure it. So you go to color temperature, and again, very simple. Press and hold it, and up here, for example, where I am, the color temperature is 5,330 Kelvin. And then it even shows you the green shift. So very accurate, very nice app, and I actually use it very often, especially when I'm shooting, for example, indoors with a lot of mixed lighting. I might have some lighting outside, but actual artificial lights inside, kind of mixing together. This thing is really helpful because it's gonna let you really dial in a perfect white balance setting. Another app it's worth mentioning, even though I don't really use it that often, kind of every so on, if I want to illustrate kind of what kind of shot or setup I want to do, let's say to a DP or somebody else that I'm working with. The app is for the Android, I believe, and there might be a version for iPhone, and it's called Shot Designer. It's free, but then within the app you can enable other functions if you pay for them. So the app itself is actually pretty powerful for designing basically your shots, like the title says. So here, this is just kind of this test scene that they have in there, but it kind of shows you you have different cameras. You have one character there in the blue, and then the other red circle is another character. You can kind of move them around. So you basically tap these around, and you kind of, let's say you say that you want this character to start here, and then he walks, let's say, around this table, and then once you're happy, you can click playback, and it's actually going to play back the little animation. And this is actually very helpful when you want to visualize and let's say show to your team maybe, for example, how to set up the dolly track, or how you envision the camera moving, or where the camera placements are going to be. So that's basically where this app is very helpful, and that's kind of more or less how I use it. Another really useful app is the time-lapse calculator, and like the name suggests, it lets you calculate your time-lapse settings. Many of these apps are available for both Android and iOS, and some of them are paid, some of them are free. This one up here that I have is free, and it does really everything that you need this app to do. So definitely, if you're doing a lot of time-lapse, you want to check out one of these apps. And the last app I wanted to show you guys is Hover. So the first functionality of it is the map. So for example, I'm here in Ecuador, and it's showing me right now where I am, and let's say I was planning to go tomorrow to Guayaquil and fly my drone over there. Well, I can kind of zoom in, and it shows you right away, for example, area that's circled around the airport in Guayaquil, and kind of how far is the restricted no-fly zone for drones. So that's how you can plan ahead and make sure that wherever it is that you're planning to shoot, that you're actually going to be able to fly your drone. Another thing you have is, for example, you can have different flight logs for your flights. You can record. You have information about the weather, and it's actually very good because it shows you not just the temperature and whether it's going to rain or not, but even the wind speed, direction, things like that, the air pressure. You can even have news, like anything basically drone, sky flight kind of related. So definitely a useful app if you're a drone pilot or you do a lot of droning, whether professionally or even if you're doing stuff for fun. And again, this is a free app, so why not try it. Anyways, that's it for all these apps. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you click thumbs up, share the video. Let me also know in the comment section below what other apps you guys are using that maybe you like. Maybe, you know, I'll do a video about it. And by the way, if you want to get these apps, I'm not sponsored by any of these companies or anything like that, but I'm going to just provide a list of basically the names of these apps in case it wasn't clear in the video. So you guys can look at them up on your own and download them to your phone and start making better films, I guess. Anyways, bye. I'm going to go relax for now.